This is a tough one. How to talk to teens about sex. I think parents need a good toolbox, and we probably need an expert to talk about this one. Through the miracles of technology, I was able to bring in an expert for this particular episode. Natasja Visser is a counselor and Live on Purpose certified coach in South Africa, and she and I get to have a conversation about this to help you with your toolbox as you talk to teens. Natasja, you've had this conversation with parents a lot who are looking for ways to educate their kids or to talk to them about this sensitive topic.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Paul. I work with parents on a daily basis, and they struggle to get out of their own minds to start talking with their children about this difficult topic. And what I find is that they are so overwhelmed with fears and not doing this right that they feel paralyzed and not sure where to start.
So really, these parents need to get out of their own way first. Tell us more about what that means.
Okay, so what I mean by that when I say get out of your own way is when you explore your own feelings about certain topics about sexuality and your opinion about certain behaviors when it comes to sexuality, if you can think about what challenge you on a daily basis, that will help you to better approach the topic more positively with your teen or with your child. So what happens is our parents are afraid that their children will ask about their own past, and then they feel like panicky, and what are they going to tell them if they ask what choices mom or dad made in this regard? And then they struggle to rather stay away from the topic than bring it up and start talking to their children about that.
This is one of those topics, isn't it, where people get really queasy. They feel uncomfortable or awkward about it.
Yes, and that's where I challenged the parents. I challenged them to say, pick your pain. So you're going to approach this difficult, uncomfortable conversation positively, with energy, with a plan, and how you want to do this in a positive way, rather than not talking about it at all, and you will have pain later with a teenager out of control, not knowing what's the right or wrong decisions to make. That's the point where they come to me at my counseling room and say, this has happened to my child, what now? I'd rather have a plan beforehand, approach the topic positively in the beginning rather than later.
I think that is such a powerful realization when we acknowledge that, look, this is going to come up at some point. So let's do that on purpose on the front end instead of waiting until later on when we're actually cleaning up messes.
Yes, and when they come, and cleaning up messes is much more difficult than doing it in the beginning. And that's why I say you must set your stage correctly. So we must look at the talk as if it's a strategic game that you're going to play. And I like to use the example of chess. So are you going to play chess with this topic regards to sex with your teenager? Or are you going to leave it up to a game of poker and say, I hope my child will meet the right person one day, or I hope he will make or she will make the right choices? What do you want to really leave it up to the game of luck, or do you think there's a little bit of strategy involved? And I believe there's some strategies involved.
I agree. I'm a big fan of strategy. I don't think leaving this up to luck is something that would resonate with most parents. And I love that analogy. Natasja, you also have shared this advice before. I've heard you talk about don't coach on game day. Talk to us about that particular strategy.
Yes, so what typically happens with our parents today is when a child reaches the teenage years, they believe, okay, now it's probably the time to do the talk. Or when the child's starting going out and being part of typical teenager activities, they start now and say, oh, in a frantic, what must I need to tell my children now? And that's where I say we need to start earlier rather than later. And if we coach on the game day, meaning that on the first day of the first date, then you say, okay, remember, a boy mustn't touch you here, he mustn't do this. That's coaching on the game day. I believe it needs to lead up to that first date night or their first activities in a social environment. They need to be prepared and know clearly where boundaries is, when is it too far, and what decisions they need to make in a compromised position, if I can say that.
I think I know how you might answer this, Natasja, but how young is too young to start talking about sex with our kids?
The parents I love to work with is the parents with still little toddlers. And that's where we can set the stage correctly. So if we think about the board game of chess, the white castle must be on the white block on the left hand. That's the right way we need to set the stage, if I can say that. Playing chess, your board needs to be right. So having started correctly, and that's at the age of 2 already, we can start with a positive conversation about their private parts. So I know that's not the topic sex, but that's already starting with, this is a beautiful part of your body that we need to take special care of. And that's already starting the conversation, open conversation with your children from a very young age. And then we work up to middle years, middle school years, high school years. Then we already have open communication between parent and child. So I like it when it's early as possible.
I thought you might say that. Setting the stage, getting things ready, having those preliminary conversations, that makes things a lot easier later on as the kids get older. Now, if I'm a parent who hasn't already had those conversations, it's not too late. Now that my kids are teenagers, for example, we can still have the conversation. Is that right?
Yes. So what I believe you must do then is go home and ask your child today, what are your perception or what do you think about sex? Just get out of your comfort zone and go and ask your child, what do you think about sex? Doesn't matter which age they are. So when they're a bit younger, like 5, 6, let's say 6, 7 years of age, I would say, have you heard the word sex before? Take a chance and see what they say. They might say, no, I haven't heard that before. Or they say, yes, I heard a friend talking about that. Say, okay, I will gladly talk to you about that topic. You can come and ask me, I will explain it to you. No need to go and search at friends' houses or talk to other friends about it. I'm comfortable to give you the answers that you require. And that sets the stage for you to be the source and the primary source of information, and the child will come back to you and say, I heard this, I heard that, please, I need more information.
You've got a lot of experiences that have helped you to have the tools to talk to parents, which gives them the tools to talk to their kids. And I remember you sharing a story about a chameleon, was it? Tell us about that.
Yes, that's a story, a personal story, and I believe that is the greatest opportunity I had to talk to my children about coming to me as the source of information. So what happened is, we have a chameleon, and he lived in our living room in a small little tree in a glass container. And what he eats live crickets, and every day he needs to be fed a live cricket. Now we buy crickets, about 50 crickets a month, and then we in a plastic cup, and then we take one cricket each day and put it into the glass box, and then he goes and hunt for the cricket. So what my son did is he took the little cricket box and didn't put it away on a high shelf that the way he should. He left it on the ground, and then the next morning when he got back to the chameleon, he actually saw ants attacking this plastic cup with all the crickets in. Knowing he will be in a big trouble because he didn't listen, okay, he took matters in his own hand and took this plastic cup with all the crickets and put it into the glass container where our chameleon lives. And what happens is all these little ants start climbing up the tree and they started to attack our chameleon. Realizing this, thank goodness, our son didn't go and get a toxin to kill the ants. He thought now he'd drown the ants. So he went to get a big bucket and he started throwing the bucket of water into our glass cage of our chameleon. And there he is, and this glass container is not made for holding water. So the water starts flooding out of the container. Ants is all over the place. Crickets is all over our living room. And our poor chameleon is hanging there on a branch for his life. And that's the point where I came into the room. And he realized he's in big trouble. Now, what do we do as parents? Sometimes we can just laugh. It was just overwhelming as we go into the living room. And that was a great teaching opportunity, and how I can teach them what was the greatest time, best time in that moment to come and ask for help. At the time you added the water, at the time you realized the ants were there, what was the best time to say, Mom, I made a mistake, please help me? And that's what I want to teach our children, and our parents need to teach our children. You won't be in trouble. You don't need to feel ashamed or guilty. When you're unsure about your sexual decisions, or when you are put into a position where you say, oops, I made a mistake, don't try and fix it by yourself. Rather come and talk to me. Let's do damage control while the ants are just in the cricket bucket. We can throw that away and buy new crickets. But trying to resolve the issue on your own, when teenagers trying to do that, they get themselves into much more trouble further down the line. So ask yourself, can your child come and ask you, Mom, I made a mess. I think I'm in trouble. Please come and help me. And that's where we want that open relationship with our children.
I love that, Natasja. At the end of the day, you are the best resource for your children. And you've shared with us today some important steps that will be good tools as we approach this and any other topic really with our children. We get out of our own way and we make ourselves available to them as that trusted resource. Thank you so much for sharing those ideas with us today. So you've heard some great tips today from Natasja Visser. If you want to connect with her, go to liveonpurpose.coach and you'll see her picture there along with other certified Live on Purpose coaches where you can get more resources to help you as a parent.
I saw her standing in the street alone.